So we are nearing the end of this portion of the program, and I just want to give a moment for each of you. If you have any closing thoughts, I invite you to share them. We can go down the line, and then I know we've got some exciting things that are happening right after this conversation, so I don't want to run over our time, but is there anything you would like to say as a closing thought?
Well, thank you again for having us and for the performance. This has been a really wonderful way to spend the evening. I am running to be a different type of lieutenant governor, really focused on putting people first, investing in our communities, investing in our young people, and really tackling some of the big issues by getting at root causes. There are 5 working groups that I want to create that I think I've already mentioned around climate and housing, mental health, childcare, and COVID. I want artists to be on those working groups to help us identify the root causes, but also to bring forth what are the issues that you're facing in the arts and cultural sector, and also what are the ways that we can identify the issues that we need to tackle towards the future. So that's why I'm in this race, to be a different type of lieutenant governor. And I thank you again for the opportunity to be here.
Well, thank you so much, Alana. Thank you to my fellow candidates. Thanks, everybody, for being here. And I, again, just want to say my name's Eric Lesser, running for lieutenant governor, as are, of course, everyone on the stage right now. And I just want you to know that I will be a champion and a partner to our arts and culture community, and an ally to our community. I've been there for the last 8 years in the state Senate, fighting to expand funding for the Mass Cultural Council, fighting to expand the Cultural Facilities Fund program, making sure that we're auditing the program to make sure that it's going to people and organizations and communities that need it the most. Just recently, when the ARPA funding came in, the governor's proposal initially had that money going through MOT, Mass Office of Travel and Tourism. A lot of you were involved in the advocacy for that. We helped lead the effort to rewrite that so it went through the Mass Cultural Council, because the MCC knows the communities the best, knows the players the best, knows the organizations the best. As Lieutenant Governor, I want to put arts and culture at the center of everything we do, at the center of our response to the mental health crisis, at the center of the response to our housing. We actually didn't get to talk about housing, which is an acute issue for artists and people in the arts community who are getting priced out of increasingly gentrifying neighborhoods and communities as rents and housing prices skyrocket. I want the arts community to be part of our transportation solution as we work to expand rail service. We're here in Worcester, which has helped been transformed by its rail connectivity to Boston. We now need to pull that rail service west to Springfield and Pittsfield, and of course continue with South Coast Rail. And I want to value and lift up the community because of what it is intrinsically, which was a topic that we all talked about today. We went through a lot. Everyone went through a lot through COVID, but no community was hurt or impacted quite like the arts and culture community was from COVID. The very nature of your sector is about community and collaboration and bringing people together. And COVID, of course, had to keep everyone apart. Not only was your community and the arts community the hardest hit by COVID, but I also think that your community, our community, the arts and culture community, is going to be the key to healing after COVID, because it's arts, it's culture, it's performance that helps bring people together, helps heal, helps rebuild and restitch community after a trauma that was experienced over the last almost 3 years. So I just really want to thank everybody for the invitation, for having us here today, and I'm really excited to get to work and to continue our partnership and our work together. Thank you.
All right, I'm batting cleanup, right? So I just want to say thank you so much, one, for having all of us here, giving us a chance to introduce ourselves to you, a little bit more about why we're excited about this race, and in particular for carving out time to talk about a topic that I think doesn't get talked about enough as often. I'm really grateful that you're organizing around getting to the ballot box to really support candidates that will invest in spaces and places that are not only going to help art and culture, but frankly help the Commonwealth. I think we're heading into some choppy waters as I think about what's ahead economically. I'm an optimist always. ways, but I feel like with interest rates and inflation, a lot of uncertainty as we move forward, and also historic opportunities. You know, as mayor, you know, the buck stops with me. I due respect to my colleagues. We've had, you know, an opportunity here to spend the time talking about art and culture and why those investments haven't been made already. You know, we just passed sports betting. We've had cannabis. We've had all these new revenues coming into our Commonwealth. And every year it feels like the art and culture community has to fight for crumbs. And we rally to say, oh, it's going to get cut. And then it gets put back in. I'd love to be in a place, in a position where we're not doing that, where we're actually treating art and culture in a respectful industry, the way we think about life sciences or advanced manufacturing, or other meaningful places that have jobs, that add quality of life, that are important to our communities. That's what I've done as mayor. I think this race is about who's going to be a really strong partner for our next governor. You can tell we're all certainly supportive of art and culture, but who's actually going to embed the structure, the funding, in state government in a way that's going to allow us to make good on these promises and these ideas. I think I've done that at the local level. I firmly believe that what happens in our communities, the success of our Commonwealth, is based on working cities, cities that are thriving. And how are our communities thriving? Frankly, through a lot of art and culture. So I want to thank you for having me here, for giving me a chance to share a little bit more about my campaign. I'd be thrilled to have your support in this race. I'm excited to roll up my sleeves and get to work and take this experience from the Get Stuff Done branch of government to the State House and partner with our next governor and make sure we're putting art and culture in the center of all that we do moving forward. Thanks.
Thank you so much to our three candidates. Much appreciated.